Yiannimize won't be rapping anymore. Nearly 16 years ago, I had a dream, I had an idea, and I ended up coming to this garage in North London in Enfield. And 16 years later, when we closed the shutter for the final time and we turned the lights off, we've created history, and I'm proud.
What is your primary reason for wanting to get out?
Okay, people think the first reason or the main reason is tax. I've been paying tax for 30 plus years, and I think I've got a lot more different opportunities in Cyprus than I do in Dubai.
Yiannimize looks like the kind of car channel that can never lose. Supercars rolling in every week, crazy raps, celebrity cars, and a workshop that felt like the home of the whole brand. For years, Yianni Charalambous made it look effortless. Build the business, build the channel, live the lifestyle, but that's only what we saw on camera. Because near the end of 2025, something happened that shocked a lot of fans. Yiannimize sold its headquarters in Enfield and shut the workshop down. The same place that powered the channel for years, the place where so many of the biggest videos were made, suddenly closed its doors. And that's when the question started. Was this planned, or was something going wrong behind the scenes? Was the business struggling, or did Yianni just want out? And if the shop is gone, what happens to Yiannimize next? This is the part of the story most people missed. The pressure, the risks, and the real reasons that pushed Yianni to make his biggest move yet. Then, in late 2025, Yianni confirmed it. The Yiannimize headquarters in Enfield was shutting down and the workshop was closing.
This is the final car ever to leave the Yiannimize OG building with me still being here, because at 5 o'clock today, we all leave.
On December 31st, 2025, he posted a final message saying it was a wrap after 16 years and that the doors were closing on that chapter. Soon after, the team shared a more formal statement thanking customers and supporters. For viewers, that building was more than a unit in North London. It was the backdrop for the brand's rise, where countless Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and celebrity cars rolled in and left with loud new looks. What made it feel unreal was how healthy everything looked from the outside. Yianni didn't immediately name the buyer, so speculation filled the gap. But by the end of 2025, the situation was simple. Yiannimize was no longer operating from Enfield, and the headquarters was no longer in Yianni's hands. The last videos filmed there showed how final it was. In the goodbye vlog, the team walks through an emptying space that used to feel chaotic and alive. Toolboxes get packed, wall art comes down, and the workshop starts to look like a set after the cameras stop rolling. Even without an officially confirmed buyer and public sources, the closure didn't look like a panic move. The send-off content felt organized, with cars and equipment being moved out in stages. In one of the final uploads, another well-known auto brokerage appeared on site while Yianni sold a car, which added to the sense that the operation was being wound down deliberately. There were no public signs of a legal collapse or a rushed fire sale. That points to a private sale and a controlled shutdown, rather than the building being taken from him overnight. But for fans, the details almost didn't matter. The place that powered the channel for years was gone, and the Yiannimize era that revolved around that workshop had officially ended. So why would a channel that looked successful sell the one location that made the brand feel real? Because it wasn't one reason. It was pressure stacking on pressure until the smartest option looked like a reset. In late 2025, Yianni spoke more openly in a podcast interview, where he explained what pushed him toward closing and changing direction. The biggest turning point he described was a robbery that felt terrifying and personal.
For people that don't know, I got robbed in my house, tied up 9 years ago. But they got other watches and they got some cash. They tied me up there in my house for about 11 minutes, beat up, smashed over the head, blew my eye open.
He didn't share every detail publicly, but the point landed. When your life is visible, your cars are valuable, and your routine is predictable, you become a target. After that, he started prioritizing safety, especially for his family, over the pride of running a big public HQ. Then there's the business reality. Yiannimize wasn't just a YouTube channel, it was a full workshop operation with serious overhead. Yianni said he had around 30 staff. That means wages, insurance, equipment, rent or finance costs, and the constant pressure to keep bays full and the team busy. If the work slows, the costs don't slow with it. Add the wider economy and the luxury market. When budgets tighten, High-end wraps and cosmetic upgrades can be the first thing clients delay. Yianni also hinted that not every plan paid off. He referenced a major business idea that went wrong and cost around £500,000, which suggests that at least one big swing didn't bring the return he expected. Taxes and operating costs in London also sat in the background of the conversation. When he talked about living between countries, some people accused him of leaving the UK just for tax. Yianni pushed back publicly, saying the move was about lifestyle and opportunity as much as money. Either way, the underlying truth is simple. Running a large physical business in London is expensive, and every extra cost makes the risk feel heavier. So he pivoted. Instead of trying to keep the same structure alive, he leaned into a version of Yiannimize that doesn't depend on one postcode. Media work, sponsorships, collaborations, events, and travel content can run with fewer fixed costs and a smaller permanent team. You can see that new direction in what he started pushing at the same time, like the Yiannimize Grand Tour, a supercar road trip style event. It keeps cars and lifestyle at the center, but it isn't tied to a wrapping bay in Enfield. Selling the HQ also likely freed up major capital. Yianni had referred to the Enfield site as a multi-million-pound property, especially after the refurbishment shown on the channel. Turning that asset into cash can wipe out liabilities, reduce stress, and fund the next move without needing to keep the shop running just to survive. Around the same period, he also started selling personal assets, which made the reset feel bigger and more intentional. He spoke about selling a high-value home, and he let cars from his collection go, including a Rolls-Royce Cullinan that became part of a goodbye-style road trip. Put together, it looked like a clear-out designed to reduce risk and increase flexibility. And this is where the crisis question really lives. On camera, closing an HQ looks like a failure. Off camera, it can be the opposite, a controlled move to stop carrying a heavy load before it breaks you. Creator businesses in the UK car scene have shown how fast things can flip when overhead is high and revenue is unpredictable. Yiannimize didn't publicly hit that worst case, but the pressure point is the same. And selling the HQ did not just change the address, it changed what Yiannimize actually is. The most obvious shift is that the Enfield wrapping service stopped. Without that workshop, there's no daily stream of client cars and no in-house transformation pipeline. That also meant a major transition for the technicians and wrap team who helped build the brand's reputation. Yianni didn't try to hide that. He built the goodbye into the content, thanked the staff on camera, and highlighted longtime team members like Mark and Nico. The closing videos showed real emotion, and that mattered because it gave viewers an ending instead of a silent disappearance. By acknowledging the team, the closure felt less like people being dropped and more like a chapter closing. There were also hints that experienced rappers could move into new opportunities, whether that meant joining other shops or launching something of their own. Behind the scenes, Yiannimize has shifted into a leaner brand model. The online presence now leans toward media, events, and merchandise instead of customer services. The old address may still appear in places, but there is no open workshop for clients to walk into. That cuts costs dramatically. No huge space to maintain, no daily workshop payroll at the same scale. The trade-off is obvious too. Steady income from client work disappears, so the new revenue streams have to carry more weight. You can see the content shift on the channel. Before, the format often revolved around wrapping cars, workshop banter, and transformations. After the sale, uploads leaned more into vlogging, travel, buying and selling cars, and personal updates. It's more about Yianni as the main character in the brand story, not the day-to-day mechanics of the shop. For some fans, that's a loss. The old format was familiar and delivered the before and after satisfaction that made Yiannimize addictive. Yianni seems aware of that, which is why he keeps teasing car-focused angles that don't require a fixed HQ, rallies, road trips across Europe, international collaborations, and event content where the cars still dominate the screen. There's also the performance side. By the end of 2025, the channel looked like it had plateaued around the mid 2 million subscriber range. Views were solid, but not exploding, and a plateau like that often forces creators to shake the formula. Around that point, the channel seemed to sit around roughly 2.25 million subscribers. Views were steady, but many uploads landed in a range that suggested not every subscriber was watching regularly. Some of the wrap episodes also started to feel predictable. Same shop, same reveal, same rhythm. That doesn't mean the content was bad, but it does mean growth can slow, and a creator starts looking for a bigger storyline. Closing the HQ, selling assets, and going international instantly created that storyline and gave viewers a reason to tune back in. It also refreshed the channel's image overnight. And a pivot like this creates instant attention. Videos about closing the shop, selling cars, and changing countries naturally pull curiosity because they feel like turning points. The more open, personal storytelling also gives the audience a reason to keep watching, even when the wrap reveal isn't the main hook. Of course, the risk is that not everyone follows. If the travel and lifestyle content doesn't land, views can slide. But so far, the audience hasn't collapsed and the brand still has recognition. Yianni is betting that Yiannimize is bigger than one building and that the next phase can be built around experiences rather than a service business. And the reaction to Yiannimize closing the HQ has been mixed, emotional, and sometimes messy, which is exactly what you would expect when a long-running era ends. A lot of longtime viewers were genuinely sad. For them, the Enfield shop wasn't just a location. It was the set where the channel's best memories happened. Outrageous raps, celebrity cars, pranks, arguments, and those satisfying transformation moments. At the same time, plenty of the audience understood the logic. In the comments, people repeatedly mentioned rising costs, stress, and quality of life issues in the UK. Some viewers even said they related to the idea of moving abroad for opportunity, and they wished him well. But there was backlash too. A loud minority framed it as greed, or accused him of running away from taxes. Others worried about the staff and the customers who supported the business. The criticism never fully took over the conversation, but it was persistent enough that Yianni responded directly. In reaction content, he argued that he'd paid taxes for years, and that the decision was bigger than money. He positioned it as a lifestyle choice and a business evolution, and he made a point of saying he wasn't vanishing from the UK scene. Addressing it head-on helped cool the negativity. Within the wider car YouTube world, many creators seemed sympathetic. They pointed out that running a physical wrap shop while also producing consistent content is basically 2 full-time jobs. They also noted that the market has changed. Rap culture is more competitive now, celebrity-driven hype has shifted, and YouTube itself rewards bigger storylines and bigger locations. It's easier to chase those trends when you're not tied to one workshop every day. Even some industry voices framed this less as a downfall and more as a pivot that makes sense. The brand still has reach, and events or collaborations can keep Yianni visible even without a permanent HQ. The main debate online wasn't, is he finished, but will the new version of Yiannimize be as entertaining as the old one? And when you look at the full story, what happened with Yiannimize in late 2025 feels less like one sudden disaster and more like a big change that happened under pressure. The business and the channel clearly hit some tough moments, and the cracks were starting to show long before the shutdown was confirmed. There were signs the money side may have been getting tighter. The UK market has not been easy for car businesses. All of that seems to have pushed him toward a huge decision. He sold the headquarters and scaled things down. On the outside, that can look like a crisis, because if everything was going perfectly, the Enfield shop would probably still be running and growing. But Yianni has tried to frame it in a different way. He has presented it as stepping back on purpose so he can rebuild in a smarter direction. By selling the physical side of the business, he removed a lot of overhead and pressure. Instead of being locked into rent, payroll, and a single location, he freed up cash and flexibility. In his view, that move did not end the brand. It protected it and set it up for a new phase. The day-to-day reality did change though. Without the shop, there are no regular wrap jobs coming in and no steady flow of customer cars. That is a real downsizing, and it is fair to assume money played a role because people do not sell big assets unless they feel they need to reduce risk. The key point is that Yianni did not disappear after the sale. He stayed visible and talked a lot about why he did it. He posted long videos and did interviews to explain the decision in his own words. That helped calm the audience because it made the move feel planned rather than sudden or secret. Instead of walking away, he made it clear he wanted people to follow him into whatever comes next. The channel is still active and the audience is still there. The brand has taken some criticism, but it is still a known name in the car scene. Financially, he is probably in a different position now because he has cash from selling assets, but he also has to replace the income that used to come from the shop. That is where the risk is. Moving from a service business to being more purely creator-led can be unpredictable. Some creators grow fast once they are not tied to a business. Others struggle because they lose the structure and stability that the business gave them. Yianni has also been pushing a clear storyline. He keeps saying that the passion is still there and that he has more freedom now to travel and create. He has been teasing about spending more time in Dubai and possibly setting up a base there. For years, that Enfield place was the heart of the videos, so seeing it close down hit different. It also left fans with a lot of unanswered questions, because when a channel changes this hard, it's never just one simple reason. Now the big test is what the new version looks like without the familiar setup and without that steady stream of wrap transformations. Some people will love the fresh direction, and some will miss the old energy. Either way, everyone's watching what Yianni does next. Tuna No Crust, signing off.